Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're breaking down the core concepts of a book that has literally redefined financial education for millions of people. Yep, we're talking about Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. My goal today is to completely shatter how you think about money, earnings, and financial independence. We're going to replace some old habits with incredibly powerful mental frameworks. So, let's dive right in.
3,276,948. Now, I promise this isn't just some random number. This is actually the exact number of years Elon Musk could live if he started spending money like an average American earning $51,000 a year. Even if we account for market fluctuations and, the fact that not all his assets are liquid, it proves a wild point. He's accumulated enough resources to survive for hundreds of thousands of lifetimes without ever working another day. So the crucial point is this: wealth is not measured by the size of your paycheck. True wealth is actually measured in time. It's the amount of time you can survive without working. And the crazy thing is, almost nobody asks themselves this question. We get so hyper-focused on snagging a higher salary that we completely ignore calculating how many days or months or years we could actually survive if our income just stopped right now. If you want to build lasting wealth, you absolutely must shift your focus from simply earning income to creating time.
Section 1. The Psychology of Wealth. Fear versus Boldness.
To understand why so few people achieve true wealth, we really have to look at how doubt destroys opportunity. Picture this. It's 1876, and Alexander Graham Bell just patented the telephone. Demand was absolutely exploding, and he simply didn't have the supply or the infrastructure to keep up. So he goes to William Orton, the president of Western Union, which was the biggest communications company at the time. Bell offers to sell his patent for just $100,000. And do you know what Orton did? He literally asked Bell if he was crazy and completely rejected him. Driven away by Orton's doubt, Bell went on to form AT&T, a multi-billion-dollar empire. It goes down as one of the greatest blunders in business history, and it was driven entirely by fear.
In the real world, it's not the smart who go ahead, but the bold. Now, what's really interesting about this quote is how perfectly it captures our own lives. Think back to school. The teacher asks a question, you know the answer, but fear and doubt keep your hand glued to the desk. Someone else answers, they get the praise, and you're just left regretting it. Most people are incredibly insecure about money. Taking calculated risks and overcoming that insecurity isn't just optional, it's mandatory. In the real world, boldness beats book smarts every single time.
Section 2. The Mechanics of Wealth. Literacy and Loss.
Because here's the thing. Boldness without a solid mechanical understanding of money is actually a recipe for disaster. Courage makes you rich, but literacy keeps you rich. To illustrate this, let's take a look at 1923. A group of the world's most elite business leaders, titans like Charles Schwab and Samuel Insull, met at the Edgewater Beach Hotel. These were literally the wealthiest men of their era. Yet 25 years later, following the catastrophic 1929 market crash, many of these exact same men died completely bankrupt. Why? Purely because of a lack of financial literacy. We see this all the time today with lottery winners and pro athletes, right? They make millions, but because they aren't financially smart, they lose the whole shebang.
Okay, let's dive into this foundational concept. If you want to be financially literate, you must understand the difference between an asset and a liability. And honestly, it's breathtakingly simple. An asset is anything that puts money into your pocket. Think rental properties, dividend stocks, or even a successful YouTube channel. A liability, on the other hand, is anything that takes money out of your pocket. We're talking car maintenance, credit card bills, or a massive mortgage. When you lay it out like this, there is just a stark contrast in how different classes handle their cash flow. The poor are stuck in survival mode. Their income barely covers basic necessities. Then you have the middle class, who often make a pretty tragic mistake. They buy liabilities, like expensive cars or unnecessarily huge houses, thinking they're assets, and they just trap themselves in debt. But the rich, they play a completely different game. They direct their income toward buying assets first. Then those assets generate new income, and that new income is what pays for their liabilities. This right here is the exact wealth creation formula. You earn income, you use a portion of it to buy assets, which, by the way, follows the classic pay-yourself-first rule from the richest man in Babylon. And then those assets generate new income. Only then do you pay for your liabilities. It's literally a self-sustaining engine of wealth.
Section 3. The Real Game. Mind your own business.
Okay, let me set the scene for one of the greatest business revelations in history that proves exactly why your day job is not your business. The year is 1974. Ray Kroc, the man who famously turned McDonald's into a global phenomenon, gives a powerful speech to MBA students at the University of Texas. After the event, he's just casually hanging out with the students, having a few drinks, when he decides to ask them a little trick question.
He looks at the group and asks, "What business do you think I'm in?" The students actually laughed at him. They thought he was joking. Finally, one of them speaks up and says, "Ray, come on, everyone knows you're in the hamburger business."
And this brilliantly illustrates Ray Kroc's secret. He looked right back at them and said, "No, I am not in the hamburger business. My business is real estate." McDonald's true genius wasn't just selling burgers. It was using the franchise model to acquire the most prime, valuable real estate in the world. To put that into perspective, McDonald's owns more prime real estate globally than the Catholic Church. No way, right? But it's true.
The lesson here is absolutely profound. Do not confuse your profession with your business. If you ask a bank manager what their business is, they might say banking, but they don't actually own the bank. Working a job for a paycheck is totally fine, but you must simultaneously mind your own business, and your true business is the asset column that you personally own and build over time.
Section 4. The skill of wealth. Work to learn. This final paradigm shift tackles our ego and that traditional work-for-money mindset that holds so many brilliant people back. So there's this great story. Once, Robert Kiyosaki was in Singapore doing an interview with a highly educated journalist. She had a master's degree in English literature, wrote beautifully, but she was broke and really struggling to pay her bills. She asks Robert how she could become a best-selling author like him. He simply suggested she take a sales training course. Well, she was deeply insulted. She said she was a professional, that sales was beneath her, and she flat out hated salesmen.
Kiyosaki patiently listened, then pointed to the cover of his own book. He delivered this absolute, heavy-hitting reality check. He said, "Look at this. It says best-selling author, not best-writing author." He openly admitted his writing skills were pretty average, but his ability to sell was exceptional. Her writing was excellent, sure, but because she refused to learn sales, nobody was buying her work. Raw talent without financial literacy and practical skills is, unfortunately, practically useless.
Work to learn and not just for money. This brings us to a golden rule. Smart, highly educated people often fail financially because they get obsessed with getting a slightly bigger paycheck in their narrow little field, completely ignoring the acquisition of vital, cross-functional skills like sales, marketing, and financial literacy.
All right, let's quickly recap the incredible paradigm shifts we've explored from this source material today. Wealth is how much time you can survive without working. In the real world, you've got to be bold, take calculated risks, and conquer fear. You must ruthlessly acquire assets and avoid liabilities. You have to mind your own business by building an asset column you actually own. And finally, you must work to acquire valuable skills rather than just blindly chasing a paycheck.
So, I want to leave you with this provocative question to chew on today. Take a real look at your own life, your own bank account, and your daily routine. Will you spend your life working for money, or will you finally learn the skills to make money work for you? The choice is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this sparks a massive change in your financial journey.